Is that a claymore? Should we pick it up? So we're at a new location. This is one of the major World War II training areas for desert warfare. General Patton was put in charge of setting up a bunch of camps out here in maneuver areas to train our soldiers, our American soldiers, for the upcoming warfare in North Africa. We knew we were going to go to North Africa before we went into Europe, Fortress Europe, and this is where they train the soldiers. This particular area goes everywhere you can see, from these mountains over here, all the way around, across this valley, up into those mountains over there, and up over that hill by a couple miles at least, probably 10 miles, all the way around. This was one of the maneuver areas where they practiced with combined arms. Infantry was out here. They had armor, they had artillery, they had bombers, they had fighters. It was just a wild area, and they had tens of thousands of soldiers out here practicing desert warfare. And what we'll do, and if you look at Google Earth, you look at this area, you can see where they were. You can see the tank tracks, where the tanks were covering this valley, going around. In fact, if you look right here where we're walking, you can actually see tracks and stuff. I'm not saying 100% these are tank tracks, but these could be World War II era tracks for sure. But if you look at Google Earth, you will see thousands of tank tracks all up and down this valley. I recently discovered a whole bunch of trenches. It looked like, well, they made like little fortification areas, and it looks really cool because they're zigzag trenches. But I was here last year and I didn't know about those trenches, so I'm going to go look for those today. And we're going to just basically re-explore this whole area, look at some gun pits, some bomb craters, tank tracks, hopefully trenches if I can find them. And on Google Earth too, there's something that goes from, if you can see this, the closest mountain that comes down, goes from there all the way across, out that way somewhere, to that mountain over there. And it looks like a giant trench. It kind of zigzags. I'm not 100% what it is, but it goes all the way across the mouth of this valley. And we're going to look for that too, because I did not look at that last time. I didn't know it was here. So let's go ahead and get started. What do you say? We're going to head over this way, up to those mountains. Last night I camped up in those mountains and almost stepped on a big old rattlesnake. You probably have seen that video. I posted it on Facebook, Instagram, and somewhere else, but I can't remember. But yeah, I almost got rattlesnake bit again out here. Last year I almost died too. Well, almost got bit. I stepped on a rattlesnake last year and actually crushed his head and didn't even know it until the next day. That was the closest I've ever come. What do you say? We can't really drive out across country here. That side is a wilderness area. You can only walk over there or ride horses. This side we can go places if there are roadways, but we can't just blast across country. That's BLM, Bureau of Land Management. Let's have ourselves an adventure. What do you say? Love to be able to ride the bike, but the road, this road in particular, is super sandy. Coming in, it was just like, I'm in four-wheel drive low just to get through the sand, so motorcycle is not going to work here. Let's go up on these hills, see what we can find. Notice too, this is a wash area, so this entire valley, when it rains really hard, there'll be water flowing across it. You can see how the water flowed down through here probably not that long ago. You can see the silt built up. But so we would not want to camp in this bottom just in case a thunderstorm maybe popped up somewhere. Up in that direction. Might not even get a drop of rain here, but we could get a flood. Floods out here aren't just water either. It's like all the sticks and the mud and everything it picks up. If you've ever seen one of these flash floods out west, it's just freaking incredible. It's horrible looking. I mean, the front of it is actually just dry trees and like roots and boulders just pushing down the valley. And the water's actually behind it. It's really weird looking. Maybe we'll see one when we're out here. Not actually be in it. All right, I gotta get back to watching the road because it's a wee bit bumpy, eh? See, someone was out here in a four-wheeler of some sort not too awful long ago. So this is going to be our first unscheduled stop because I see something of interest over here. First thing you notice is a little fire ring, which actually means nothing to me. But off in the distance, I can see a bunch of rocks that look like they're not quite naturally placed. I want to go see what that's all about. It's an old bed spring. Weird thing to have out here. Some brown bottle glass. Okay. A lot of these, you'll find tons of these cans out here. And the majority of them are actually World War II era ration tins. That very well could be. You see it's got that kind of opener on it. They could be World War II era. Some of them could be just from campers that get that ring. Okay, this looks like it's probably just an old road. This is what I do when I'm out and about. If I see something looks different, I'll jump out and look at it. I don't know what happened here. See, these rocks have definitely been moved around. It's kind of strange. Kind of go up the line that way toward the mountain. So it may be somewhat natural, but they've been run over by something big. Maybe tanks back in the day. You see how the tops of them are all crushed? See how that's crushed? So those are probably tank tracks where they went right over the top of them. It's kind of cool actually, isn't it? Look at that. Man, that must have been bumpy. I've ridden in and driven tracked vehicles before, infantry vehicles, and hit rocks like that, you know it. Is that a claymore? Should we pick it up? Mark Sappington. Looks like a baseball player, I guess. Kind of weird, isn't it? Here you go, Mark. We'll just put you right there. All right, back to the truck. So I'm still by this little campsite, and I got Google Earth out. Let's take a look at it together. So we are right here on that road, and we walked over to here. But if you look, see all these circles? These are tank tracks. Those are tracks from probably like a Sherman tank, probably, or other armored vehicle. But directly to our left, over in the wilderness area, look at all these. They look like little worms. I think those are trenches and fortifications that they dug for training. And I have not seen anything like that since I've been coming out here. So I want to go over and look at those. It shouldn't be too far at all, but there's a whole bunch of them. That ought to be interesting, though. And up in here, just a little further up the road, see that line of stuff? That could be bomb craters. Not 100%. I don't have, well, I got a little bit of signal. It's not very clear, but those are either bomb craters or foxholes. I'm thinking by that pattern, they're bomb craters. So let's go ahead and check those trenches out real quick. What do you say? It should not be too far over in this direction to those trenches. I'm really excited about that because I didn't know that they were out here the last time I was out here. And they basically there's a lot of them up through here, all the way up to the base of the mountain there. There's sections of them, and there's some more on the other side. I imagine there were probably some in the middle too, but they likely got washed out in the floods. I'll keep my eyes open for Mojave rattlesnakes. You can see the light stones. There's something there. Piles of stones down there. Those are probably gun pits or something. The trenches look like they were up this direction. Keep your eyes on the ground for me. I'll go for rattlesnakes. Let's see what this is. Huh. You see all the tracks out here. Kind of neat. Yeah, so this is a trench of some sort. Boy, it's not very deep, is it? Huh. But I think this would have been dug with a piece of equipment because it looks like or maybe someone pushed that up with a dozer. Again, you got to be a little bit careful out here because this area has a lot of mines in them. And not only the kind, they dig in hard rock mines where they dig into the mountain, but also the kind where they just push the gravel off. Called placer mines, where the minerals are actually just in the loose rocks. But All right, yeah, these are trenches. These are fighting positions. Most awesome. Wow. Fighting positions for ants, maybe. Really? Well, you know, imagine this is really hard digging. They sure as heck didn't dig down very far, and I can tell you already that didn't fill in much. May have filled in a little over the years, but not much. But it goes out that way to, oh, this is kind of cool. There's a foxhole. That's deeper right there. That's a little foxhole right there. If we look around, some of these, when I was out here last year, there were, you know, cartridges and stuff, fiery cartridges all around them. I don't see any here, but it's probably because we're right along the road. All right, so very, very shallow trenches with little fighting positions off to the side. All right, let's get back in the truck. I want to go up to the base of the mountain and we'll look at some more of these fortifications. See a rock wall built over there that just looks kind of neat. Let's go check it out. I hope they don't mind if we park in the middle of the road. I can honestly say out of the probably 6 or 7 days I've spent up here so far, the only other person I've ever seen was a employees for a communications company that has a big tower just up the road there. I saw their trucks go by. I mean, I didn't talk to them. I just saw them off in the distance. The only people I've seen. Oh, looky, there is a cool, that's a foxhole. You can see all kinds of stuff out across there, including that wall. Let's go look at that. Okay, here is some barbed wire. And this is stuff that the soldiers put up as part of their war games. And it goes up that way. You can see there's another post up there. And there's areas out here that are just loaded with barbed wire. And what's kind of neat, some of the posts, instead of being like those kind of posts, are these little pigtail things, little, you know, that you screw into the ground. And they're kind of cool, really. There's a lot of those out here too. But let's check out this wall, watch out for snakes, and just scope this area. You see if we can see a cartridge or two. Being right along the road and easily visible, these are probably visited fairly often. But yeah, this is some soldiers' little place they built for their war games. I'm going to guess that's where they had the machine gun set right there through that hole. It offers some protection, but boy, I wouldn't want to be behind that because the bullets come zipping right through those holes and rock fragments. See little positions right in the wash. Hole there, hole there. This is weird right here. This is where someone piled up a bunch of gravel and put rocks on it like a grave. Don't think that's a grave, but I wouldn't be surprised if the soldiers hadn't buried something there of interest. See, this is another series of trenches that they dug, and look, the mine owners blasted a road right through the middle of them. So much for historic preservation, huh? What do you think that thing is? I'm almost afraid to pick it up. Looks like an alien egg. Should we? It's a rock with a weird interior. That's very strange, isn't it? Huh. I would think these are metamorphic rocks, but with those rings like that, it looks almost like it's probably sedimentary. A lot of those pink rocks in here. I don't know what they are. I don't know. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. That was an adventure.
From your pocket, take your gold chain and your locket. Mother Earth has no sympathy. She'll take the ring from your hand and bury it in the sand and keep it for eternity. Mother Earth, she's got her secrets she's promised to keep, hidden in her dirt or deep in her creek. Mother Earth, she ain't saying exactly what she's saving, where it is or what it might be. Mother Earth, you are my lady, my big round baby. I'll rock you until I go to sleep. She don't care.